terrible at names.
No,
I'm great with faces.
yeah.
Horrible at names.
No, I'm the same way.
I'll remember your face forever, but you tell me your name, I'm like, yeah, it was Craig, right? It was actually Jim.
It's actually like
Pretty close. Damn, we have the same name. Shit.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Longley's Line Podcast. I am your host, Stephen Longley. Remember to like, follow, subscribe on all of our social medias. Stephen Longley for me, Longley's Line for the show, Lightstyle Studio for our studio here. And today, as you guys know, we have people of all different facets from the entertainment industry, and today is no different. Today I have Mr. Angel Alvarado.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you for coming.
Me.
Before we get into anything, go ahead and promote all your social medias, wherever you'd like anybody to follow, find, things like that.
You can follow me on Instagram at official Angel Alvarado, and I'm also on TikTok too with the same handle.
Perfect. So before we get into really anything, where are you from originally?
Born and raised in Reno. Been
What
here
part
my
of
whole
Reno?
life. I spent a little bit of time in Sparks, a little bit of time in Northwest. Went to McQueen High School, graduated there in 2017, and I've been studying at UNR ever since.
What are you studying there?
Communication studies.
Communication. Okay. What does that entail?
It entails exactly what it sounds like. Really just different. I'm stumped right now, but it's really just the study of communication and how it can be useful in our lives, from our professional to our personal relationships. And the biggest thing that it takes, the biggest thing that it teaches is that to have a good life, we need good relationships, and the way we build good relationships is by having good communication.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm taking classes from interpersonal, intercultural communication, business communication, small group communication, business communication. So it's been a lot of different things. It's been fun.
Getting a little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything, yeah. Yep.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Because communication is something you don't realize that you need. You need to have open communication for healthy anything.
Exactly.
Really. And then going back a little bit, when you were younger, what did you want to do for a living? Did you have kind of a inspiration or aspiration in mind?
Yeah, I've always been a pretty big dreamer. I grew up playing sports, so like a lot of kids, that was my dream.
Mm-hmm.
Make it to the NFL. I played football from 7 years old all the way till I graduated from high school. Had the opportunity to play college football. Decided not to do it. Didn't want to leave my family. But that's what I really wanted. Also wanted to be a firefighter at one point. But acting has always been there too. That's always a big dream that I've had as
Back
well.
your mind there.
Yeah.
What college for college football? You were saying leave your family. What college?
I was between two. I was gonna go to Butte College, or a small school in Minnesota that, looking back, I can't even tell you the name of it right now.
Right.
I played all through high school. I started my sophomore and senior year, so I was a pretty decent player, pretty decent role player. But looking back, yeah, I wish I would have had someone to push me a little bit more, other than my coaches, to tell me, like, hey, you can do it. You could if you really wanted to.
Right.
But like I said, family was a little more important to me, and always has been.
What position did you play?
I was a slot receiver.
Oh, okay. Have one of those. Did you have any idols that you were trying to follow your game after?
Follow my game after? Not necessarily. One player that I always looked up to was Colin Kaepernick.
Mm-hmm.
Being here from Reno, and Pop Warner, they would take us to the field, and we always had a chance to work out with the players. So seeing him and being able to interact with him, and then going home and being able to watch him on the TV, it was a trip to me. It was amazing. Like, okay, there's this guy that's here in the city that I live in, and he's big, famous, I guess you could say, but he's doing it big. And then he ended up getting drafted to the 49ers, which is my favorite team. Pretty sure that's your favorite team too.
Yeah.
So it was cool.
I could talk Niner ball all day. Don't try me.
Me too. Me too. But yeah, that was always my idol. And from my position, it was always the shorter guys that I always admired. I was shorter in high school than I am right now. I've grown a little bit since I graduated. But yeah, you know, Wes Welker and Julian Edelman, I'm like, you know, those guys are doing it. Maybe I could do it too. And yeah, I always loved the 49ers. I always admired the 49ers players.
Did you know Ayuk went to McQueen?
I played with Ayuk.
Is that right? How was that, if we can talk about that?
Man,
if there's anything there. Really.
Yeah, I mean, I went to school with Brandon. He was a year older than me.
Okay.
So he was a senior. I was a junior on varsity. But yeah, man, you always knew that he was. You always knew he was special. I grew up playing Pop Warner. He grew up playing SYFL, so I didn't get to play with him until I got to high school. But I remember a lot of my friends saying, "Oh yeah, you know, if you could look back in those days, he was the one kid that you're saying that he could make his NFL." And even his senior year, he was just balling out of control, scoring touchdowns every single game. I remember there was one play. This was right after the OBJ one-handed catch, so like it was just super popular. He had a play like just like that, but he was playing defense. He played offense and defense. But I remember it was our homecoming game. They threw a fade up to the receiver's cover, and he went up and picked it just like this. So he's been making plays for as long as I can remember. So when he got drafted to the 49ers, man, it was really no surprise.
Yeah.
Like, watching him do what he's doing is, anybody who's known him is just, it's what he is. It's what he's been doing.
Yeah, his is the one that I think is going to be the sleeper this year, because a lot of people are focusing Debo, McCaffrey, Kittle, all of them. But Ayuk's the one who works with the guys. He's the one who worked with Purdy initially. Yep. He's the one who Trey Lance, if Trey Lance starts or does anything, the connection the two have had, I think he's the one that's going to be the sleeper because he can make those catches. He can play at that high level. Yeah. Yeah. And I love watching it.
Yeah.
I could talk
about Niners all day too, man. Trust.
I've done it before where it's like, oh, we talking football? Okay. Yeah. Like that's the instant connection that you have with somebody. I'm like, yeah, I could talk.
Especially with the Niners, man.
Yeah, it's fun. Especially we at my house, we put up a Niners flag outside in the apartment that we have. Didn't know the neighbors when we moved in, anything like that, but my wife and I put a Niners flag outside. Now I know all of my neighbors and I know all of their sports teams, and once football season comes around, we don't really talk during the off season, but as soon as football season comes around, it's like, Tim, what are you doing over there? Yeah. We're just bullshitting the entire time.
No, that's all fun though, man. Even when you talk to somebody who likes another team, it's fun. Talk crap.
We do it too, where my dad has this running joke where if somebody's got, an opposing team on, he's a Rams fan, so,
How'd that work out?
No idea. But it's funny because he's a Rams fan, my wife's dad's a Rams fan, and then we have like one more kind of floating around. So every time they play each other, we always have bets going on. So whoever wins has to buy sushi. Okay. Or we do something like that.
I like that bet.
He's got a running joke that every time, he sees somebody with like an opposing team on, he drives Uber. So every time, they start talking ball and they've got, like a Steelers shirt on or something, he's like, did you just come back from the dump? What do you got going on? So I pulled out with a couple of neighbors and they're like, oh, don't try me right now.
That's funny, man.
I sit there and have fun with it. So in high school, football, decide not to play college ball.
Yo.
What were your steps after that? Did you decide I'm going to pursue X, Y, Z? Did you have kind of a plan after that?
Yeah, it was pretty much that, man. I always loved football. Sometimes I wish that I could play again. Not here to talk about that, but I did take theater in high school my freshman year, but I ended up not doing it. It wasn't a cool thing to do. But after I graduated, there was this dream, like this desire to do it that I've always had since I was a kid. So once I graduated from high school, which it's been 6 years now, I went straight to True Talent Agency, which is the agency here in Reno. Justine Reyes is the owner, and I just pretty much said, hey, I'm here. This is what I want to do. Point me in the right direction. So I started taking acting classes, got some headshots, and it's been my goal ever since. I've been pursuing it, and I've had the opportunity to be a part of some really great films, some great short films, and some cool commercials as well.
Do you remember what your first kind of taste into the acting life was once you got into the agency there?
Yes. It started out as extra work. There was a film that they did called Mustang that they filmed out in Carson City area, and that one actually did really well. I'm pretty sure it was in theaters and everything, and I saw it on Netflix a few months back. I was an extra in that film. Did not end up getting seen in the film, but I remember like being on the set, trying to get seen, just feeling how cool it was just to be on set. And they gave me a check, and I still have it, held on to it because it was the first time that I ever got paid as an actor. And I just told myself, okay, this is the first of many. Has my name, Angel Alvarado. I think it was like $150 for 12 hours of work, something like that. And I didn't even get seen. But that's what it is when you're first starting out. And after that, I did another short film called No More, which I'm pretty sure that's where I met you.
Was it the vampire?
No, that was the other one. That was another one that Jazz and I did.
Yeah. I remember the vampire one because I was only there.
That's right.
Briefly through like the grapevine or
That's
something,
right. So, well, after Mustang, I did some more extra work for a film called No More, which was made by Emily Skyle, and she now organizes this film festival in Reno, the Cordillera Film Festival. It's very popular now. I'm pretty sure that she's getting nationwide submissions these days for the festival. But that was my first year of acting, just headshots that looking back, I just looked like a little kid.
Yeah.
So I see why no one really wanted me to be in their movie. I feel like that's part of becoming an actor. You kind of have to mature into it, and you really have to pay your dues before you can really be seen as that leading man or whatever it is that you're chasing. But after that point, my good friend Jazz and I, we decided, hey man, if we want to do this, we can't wait around and hope that someone's going to give us the opportunity.
Yeah.
We have to create it ourselves. So that's where we created the vampire film Resurrection of Nikolai, which is now streaming on YouTube. And that film is about 5 years old now, and you were a part of it. We got you in there.
Yeah.
And so that was really the beginning for me, and in that time I wanted it so bad, still so hungry, still very hungry, to try to make a name for myself and get a big role. But after Resurrection Nikolai, it was a little bit of a short time, and I was feeling a little discouraged of like, man, I don't know if anyone's going to ever see me the way that I want to be seen, or if I'm going to be taken serious, because it was like, okay, you're here, but let's kind of put you in the back. Let's kind of, let's get everyone else in here. And that was discouraging, but also motivating. So after Resurrection of Nikolai came out, I was referred to an agent in San Francisco who she was representing me for a little while. And then that's when I got my first, I would say, like real big role where, okay, I had to sign a Taft-Hartley for the film, which is has to do with the SAG.
Okay.
It's
sort of like a SAG contract.
In a way it's a SAG contract. So once you sign that, you become SAG eligible.
Nice.
So I was a supporting role in that film, and it's called Women is Losers. I filmed that in San Francisco. That movie's streaming on HBO Max right now.
Oh, that's great.
And that was the first real movie that I had lines in and that I was featured in there. I had a named character, and it had a really big cast, man. Honestly, the leading actress of that film, her name is Lorenza Iso. She was in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Okay.
Quentin Tarantino's one of his most recent films. She plays Leonardo DiCaprio's wife at the very end. I'm not sure if you've seen
I have
that
seen,
film, but
okay.
she's like the Italian wife.
Yeah,
So
okay.
she's the lead actress in that, and
That's cool.
I was acting across from her. Her and I have like a little dance sequence, and I met another actress from Pitch Perfect. She was in that film. Two dudes from a, ABC show. So not to say that like, oh, I was with this person, but it's I was in that room and being in that set. I said, okay, you know what? I could do it.
Yeah.
I could do it. I'm here.
Yeah.
That was when I was 19.
Okay.
So I was like, man, I'm here. Like,
Yeah.
like at that point, I was like, man, I made it.
I'm doing
it
it.
was yeah, exactly. I'm
Yeah.
doing it, and I was very proud of myself for that. My whole family was very proud, and it just made me even more hungry. And like I said, that movie's streaming on HBO Max right now. They also had Simon Liu in there, the Shang Li from Marvel.
Oh, yeah.
He's in that film too.
Is that
Didn't
right?
get the chance to meet him, but he is part of that film. So you look at that cast, and it's like, okay, this is a cast full of stars,
Mhm.
and I'm also in this film too. It was,
Yeah.
So it was just felt, give me a huge confidence boost, like in my career as far as the direction that I was heading. And so I came back after that and just said, okay, got to keep going. Then I started doing some commercials. I've done a toy commercial for you can load up a roll of toilet paper and it has water and it shoots out spitballs. That's one commercial that I did. A Nissan commercial, Greater Nevada Credit Union commercial, all throughout these last several years. And then after that, this is when I got probably my biggest role up to this point, when I did Feliz Navidad,
Mhm.
and I was able to work with Mario Lopez, and I was in that film the entire thing. And that's when, like maybe like the third scene, and I'm also in the very last scene of the movie.
That's
And I got lines throughout the entire thing, a scene with just me and Mario, and it was just amazing, man. Meeting him and saying like, man, I'm here with this person. I can be here.
Yeah.
I can really be here. It was just amazing and humbling, all of it, man, because just a couple of years before that, man, I was being pushed to the back because they didn't want me to be a part of their film, or they didn't think that I...
Just go walk around over
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
I was in no disrespect to anybody or calling anybody out, but in that film, No More, I was literally cast as the DJ of a house party, and it was like I was in the corner. I don't think they even put the camera on me.
Yeah.
So to go from that in like a couple years, it felt good, and everyone was super happy. That movie ended up streaming on aired on Lifetime, and now it's on Hulu and Disney Plus, so it can still be streamed. And now I have a new film coming out, a short film that I did last year, where I am one of the lead actors. It's called Coyotes.
Okay.
So I filmed that out in Los Angeles early last year, waiting for it to come out, and it's a pilot for a series. So hoping that it can get picked up. They're going to do a festival run once it's complete. I think it's about 90% complete is what the director's telling me.
Okay.
So now is what's next. I recently just got new headshots taken, and now I'm trying to get a new agent,
Mm-hmm.
so I can really have some, boots on the ground in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Someone who's really putting in the work for me. Because before, and I think this goes with really any career, man, unless you have a portfolio or show that you have done something, no one's going to really take you serious. Especially in an industry like this, it is cutthroat. So if you don't really have anything to show for yourself, no one's going to take you serious, which when I was first starting out, I did not see that. It's like, man, I feel it, so why doesn't no one else feel it?
You think, look, I'm right here. Come on,
Yeah.
give it to me. But then they look at the resume, they see what you've done, and then it's like, well, what have you done? I'm here, aren't I?
Yeah.
Like, what else do you need?
Yeah,
But
exactly.
you realize that you've got to put those hours in and get the work in and actually be on those sets, because a lot of behind the scenes, people don't realize that being on set is actually kind of difficult sometimes.
It is.
Especially for those long days. You're around people that maybe you've met twice,
Yep.
if that. And then you have to do this scene where you're talking with them in a natural way. And then it's like, well, this is probably the first time we've spoken to each other. And then you
Yep.
have to make
Straight
something
up.
believable and do something. So while you're working on that first one for the, what was it? Women is
Losers.
Losers.
Yep.
So while you're working on that one, what was something that you kind of took away from that, aside from seeing all of these bigger names that you're like, I recognize them and them and them? What's something that while you were doing it, you kind of took away from it?
I think how much goes into it, how much goes into just one scene, how much goes into getting, man. I remember on that set that day, including extras, there was probably about 70 people on that set, maybe more, crew and cast. Like that's so much that goes into it, and you come in as an actor, and like you said, you come in and you have to be professional. You have to come in and be prepared, and I think that's the biggest thing that I took away from it is that okay, it's fun. It's fun, and people are making these films out of passion and to be seen. That could be part of it, but I think it's more passion that goes into it, especially for people who really do love it. So it showed me that if I really do want to make it, I have to become a professional actor, and there is a way that these actors carry themselves. And since then, I took it from you have to act like you've been there before.
Mm-hmm.
And not let the lights and the camera gets like, don't let it become too much for you.
Yeah, it can be intimidating.
It can be. I remember when I was filming my scene, man, like when they said that, okay, let's get the close up on Angel now, man, my heart just started beating so fast, man.
Yeah.
I was so nervous. Like I got blacked out. You know, you get so nervous that you just like, did that even just happen? How did I even do that?
You wake up 2 hours later,
Yeah.
like, wait a minute, where am I?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I would say that's the biggest thing I took away, just the professionalism it takes, because that's what the people who are in this industry, that's what they're doing. It's their career.
Yeah.
You know, and you can talk to some people who say, oh, yeah, you know, I used to kind of do acting. I don't know, man, it's all for fun. But, you know, there's a level to it that is, yeah, like I've been saying, it's professional.
Yeah, you want to take it serious while also realizing I'm getting paid to do this and this is what I want to do. This is the fun part, because there's a difference between people that are there for the creative side of it that want to produce something amazing, while also people being there just to get a paycheck. You know, like I've had one where I worked on a set. I was just a PA. I was just helping out because they needed X, Y, and Z. And there was an actor there who was an older actor who did not want to be there. But somehow he got booked to be there. And he was really nice to me. We were chit-chatting. I was kind of talking here and there, you know, like, oh, what was your favorite movie that you did? And he was like, oh, it was like this. It was fine. We're walking up hills, hanging out. But I heard a week later he was not happy to be there. And there's a part of you that's like, but you're on a movie set. Like, you're getting to act and perform. Like, this should be what you want to do. And there's a difference between going there just because you are getting paid and for wanting to perform and put on a good performance, because that's two different things.
Yeah, definitely.
You know? And then after that kind of goes through and you get Feliz Navidad and you actually get a little bit bigger of a role, what did you take from that where this is in no way any sort of shade on Mario Lopez, but you're going from, you know, a smaller thing to a bigger role, and then you're with him. How does that go? Like, in a sense where he's not this huge name actor, but he's in the zeitgeist where everybody knows Mario Lopez, you know, but he's not known for being a Leonardo DiCaprio where he pulls off these dramatic roles, but it's Mario Lopez.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, everybody know. You turn on a TV while you're on vacation at Disneyland or something, and you're like, is that all right? I guess I'll watch a little Mario Lopez. Like, I love me some Mario.
Yeah, really. That's how it is. And I'll say this, man. When I auditioned for the film, I had no idea. I had no idea what I was really auditioning for as far as who was gonna be in the film. Um, but once I got the role, once I booked it, my agent told me that, okay, yeah, you got it. And by the way, the leading actor is Mario Lopez. I was, what? Like, what the heck, man? That's amazing.
AC Slater, let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I told my mom, my aunts, and they were like, "What? Like, you know, I grew up watching Mario, Saved by the Bell, all that. You know, you're gonna be with him." Everyone was, you know, so excited. I keep going back to that, man. You know, my family's super important to me. Their support will always matter to me. But when I got on set, I was like getting my makeup done, and you could hear him. Like, you could hear his voice, and I was like, oh my God, he's right there. And it would be like as if we're sitting right here, and he walked by that door. I saw him. I was like, okay, all right. Then I didn't see him again for like another hour. They bring me down onto the set, and it was crazy. Like, you know, you just kind of know, we noticed each other. I think it was maybe like, you know, like we're both Hispanic type thing. You kind of just notice that type thing. But like he went straight up to me. He was like, "Hey, what's up, man? Like, nice to meet you." I was like, "Man, it's an honor to meet you." And he's like, "Man, you excited?" And you know, he was just super nice, super nice to me. And I tried to be as respectful as I could, you know.
Without fanning a little too much.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You know, I still viewed it as, you know, you're still another man. I'm still, you know, you're still another human. You know, you know.
You've been there before.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of how I had to treat it, or try to treat it. And you know, I was just in there as humbly as I could be, and I did what they asked of me to do. And I guess to answer your original question of like, what was it?
It's like, how was it working with him?
It showed me that, again, you know, this is just the way that I view myself. Anybody who's doing something great in this life, or something that's of a big purpose, I see that and I say, okay, well, you know, whatever it is that you think you are, I also am that. Mm-hmm. You know, so I felt like I was watching and talking to someone that I could become like. Yeah. You know, again, no shade or disrespect. I want to be seen more in that caliber of a great actor, not just a great personality or a famous personality. I want to be seen as Leonardo DiCaprio, Al Pacino, Sylvester Stallone, Robert De Niro. That's the category that I want to be put in as, right. You know, he is a great actor and he makes great films. But I'm seeing this dude who maybe in his past, you know, kind of looked how I look now, I guess you can maybe say. Mm-hmm. So I'm, like I said, I feel like I'm looking into like a time machine, and maybe he kind of felt the same way about me, because him and I, you know, we got along well, and it was all love from what I saw, at least. Mm-hmm. And it was just motivating to me. And again, that's kind of what we do as we're growing up, I think, is you just see people that look like you, and it's like, okay, he's doing it, so I could do it. Yeah. And I think that's what it was for me. And that film, like, really, I feel like before that, people kind of doubted what I was doing, like, you know, like, it's just, it'll go away, you know, he'll maybe realize that he can't do it. But I remember after I did that film and after it came out, everyone was like, man, Angel, like, I seen what you've been up to, man, it's so cool, like, man, I saw your movie. And it's just funny how things change, you know, when you do something like that. But again, it just showed me that I can do it. I'm in these rooms, I'm meeting these people, I'm here, and they're treating me as equal. But you know, that's just comes with respect, human to human. I would never act like I'm above anybody else. Yeah, you know,
we're all here to do the same thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So just being on that set, it was just an honor. And I also got to meet Melissa Joan Hart, the Sabrina the Teenage Witch. She was the director of that film. So,
is that right?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Got to meet her too. That was really cool. But yeah, man, that was a week-long shoot, and I made a lot of good friends. A lot of people from True Talent were a part of that film too. They got to be featured extras, I guess you could call them. And again, man, it just showed me that it's possible, that I'm getting closer, that I'm adding more to my resume. And you know, you look at a lot of actors too who they don't really get taken as serious, I feel like, more towards later in their career. And then you can kind of look back at like their early films, like, man, like he did a movie like that and now he's like this. I feel like maybe that is what Feliz Navidad might be for me. Like, they're like, man, did you know that Angel was in a movie with Mario Lopez when he first started, and now look, he's doing an action film, or you know, I have so many dream roles, you know.
Yeah.
But
yeah, no, I get it. Looking back, and you're like, he was in this Hallmark movie, and then now feature film, like
Exactly.
something huge, trying to get that. And then I think going back to how you said you and Mario were kind of had that connection where he kind of saw a little bit of himself in you. And imagine exactly that. He's this huge personality who's this talk show journalist, TV host, all this kind of guy. And imagine if the tides turned a little bit and you saw him in a serious role, like a really dramatic kind of set, which maybe he did, but it just didn't blow up like it should have.
Yeah.
And then you get to do those different roles that kind of show that you aren't the right guy to be pigeonholed, you know, because that's a lot of times what happens. People get pigeonholed.
Definitely.
And you really don't want that. And then while you're doing that and you have the aspirations, what do you see yourself doing? Because kind of how you said, where the Leonardo, Al Pacino, those kind of types. With mine, I'll give it to you like my example. When I think about acting, I want to be a working actor. Being first name is great. That would be, I would never say no to that. My whole idea is that I would like to be a working actor where you're watching a show or you're watching a movie, and as the story goes on, you see that actor pop up that you're like, oh shit, it's that guy. I love that. And maybe it's not a huge role. Maybe it's somewhat small, or maybe it's like the best friend that comes in or does something. That's what I always like to be. That's my favorite, because you're working, you're being comic relief, or if you're not comic relief, you're saying something serious and you're getting something out of that other actor, and you're showing what you can do to bring something to light. As you said, you have the big aspirations for it. What's kind of your path that you would like to take for that? Like action, comedy, drama, kind of what lane for that?
Yeah, definitely. I just want to say, with what you're saying, I think, yeah, that's really cool, is when they see you, they recognize you, and they know, man, he does good every single time I see him. Mm-hmm. Every single time I see him, he kills it. I love that guy. I think that's what we all want, you know, like, to be respected for our work, to see him, like, that's an actor.
Yeah.
He's not here just, he's acting, like, this is what he does. But the route that I would like to take, dream roles of mine, I grew up watching a lot of films. My stepdad is a really big movie person. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I grew up on a lot of classic movies, you know, like Scarface, Godfather, Rocky, Rambo, Scorsese, Tarantino. Like, I was watching those movies, you know, not realizing, you know, how much of like classics they are, but that's what really made me develop this passion of I kind of want to do that.
Yeah,
it was Rocky that made me really want to do that. It just everything about that movie you can admire, like what the movie is about, and also what it took to get made, mm-hmm. and everything that he went through to become the lead of that movie. And for it to win Best Film, man, that's inspiring. So I always looked up to Sylvester Stallone, man. Like, that was like my main dude. So I would love to be in a movie, like a boxing movie, or like some type of fighting movie like that. Some type of gangster movie, mm-hmm. you know, something Narcos.
Love to be something in like Sopranos or something
Sopranos,
like that, where you're one of
yeah.
those guys. You're part of the crew,
Yeah.
or you're there. Just hey, I'm gonna need you to go and do that.
Yeah.
You got it. And then they're one of the reoccurring guys
Yes.
that's there.
I would love to be something like that. And then I think of production companies that I would also like to work with. A24.
Mm-hmm.
Every single movie they come out with, man, is so good. I would love to be on an HBO series.
Mm-hmm.
I think of a series like Sopranos I mentioned, Entourage.
Yep.
I don't know if you've seen that.
I've seen
That
Entourage,
man,
yeah.
to be on a show like that would be super fun.
Give me Turtle, I'll be fine with the Turtle.
Man, that's such a funny show. And I know they had a good time filming it.
Oh yeah.
It was probably just so much fun every single day, just something new, every single scene, every single episode. Yeah. That's my dream. And maybe at some point I could, this is a little bit further, I think, but I think every actor would like to be like a Marvel character or something. But,
right.
I saw the most recent Black Panther movie, and I said, okay, they are casting people like me in Marvel.
Yeah.
There are Hispanic superheroes. And that's what I want to be as well, man, is that I don't think there is as much representation in Hollywood for people like myself. I think that it is growing.
Mm-hmm.
It is definitely growing. But I look at it, and again, this is the way that I view myself and the way that I talk to myself, is that they need someone like me in there. They're waiting for me to come in. They've been waiting for an actor like myself to come in and play these characters. And I just want to show the people around me that it's possible.
Yeah.
For someone like myself.
They made the right choice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get that. Mine comes along those lines as well, because I'm a mutt. So I'm Irish and Mexican, while also just a mix of all kinds of other crap in there. So it's like whenever I view myself for that, I love seeing exactly what you said, where it's the representation of something, and seeing, just different people getting these roles and getting these big name roles that can do, like when I was younger, like Aaron Hernandez was a favorite player of mine, which turned out to not be a good choice. Yeah. But you know what I mean? Like It was cool where seeing, like
definitely.
Before I was even a real football fan, just seeing that, I was like, Hernandez.
Yeah, seeing Hernandez, definitely.
My grandma's name is Lavanos. Like, seeing like a Hispanic name out there, I'm like, oh shit, that's awesome. Yeah. And then seeing that, pursuing it. And one of the things I pride myself with that is that toss me into anything, because a lot of times people wouldn't guess Irish or Mexican.
Yeah.
No,
I would never. I had no idea.
I don't think I've ever gotten where someone's like, yeah, you're Hispanic, right? No, I've gotten like Greek, Italian, something like that.
I actually thought Italian. I'm not gonna lie.
I get it all the time. Yeah. It's like, no. Go look at my grandma. She's a tiny little Hispanic lady. Yeah. Last name's Lavanos. Like, you get it. But that's one of the things that, for me, in my own personal thing, love seeing it where all the representation comes. But then, for my own personal thing, it's like, I can play anything you want to. I'm a little bit of everything. Let me come in there and just put on a performance, because that's another thing. It doesn't matter as much as it's nice to see the representation for certain things to watch people succeed. It also doesn't matter what ethnicity they are, what gender they are, what age they are.
No, not at all.
I want to see anybody succeed. I love, seeing X, Y, and Z. I see like Sterling K. Brown come into something, and then I'll see Steve Howie come up, or like Ron Perlman or Keith. Like, you see just a little bit of everybody, everything, and then you're like, yes, that's what I want to do.
Yeah, definitely.
Then I try and you got to chase that light,
Absolutely.
So going back just a little bit, or maybe now, future, when it comes to auditioning, have you ever had an audition where you said to yourself, this part's mine, I've got it, nailed it in the audition, they brought me back, X, Y, and Z happened, but then you didn't get the part? Have you ever had anything like that where either in your mind went well, or maybe like have you had any auditions like that or any audition stories like that?
Yeah, I can think of several, man. I can think of several, and there's multiple stories. I mean, there's been times where I think I crushed the audition, and then you hear nothing back. You did not get the part.
Yeah.
And there's been auditions where I half-assed it and just said, "Oh, let me just get this audition," and then I booked it.
Yeah.
You know, and there was once where I was put on a veil, which is like, you know, you're kind of close to booking it, but, you know, they kind of want to see a couple more options maybe. But it was for a show called Chicago PD.
Mm-hmm.
They have Chicago Fire, but this one was Chicago PD.
Mm-hmm.
And, man, I did very well in the first audition, and they called me for a callback as well. And, man, I kind of kicked myself for this one. They told me that they wanted to book me, and they told Justine, my agent, "Hey, we want Angel. Can you figure out what his availability is?" She's calling me. I didn't answer because I was at work, and I called her back 20 minutes later. I'm like, "Hey, what's up?" "Oh, they said that they wanted you, but you took too long to reply, so they went with another actor."
Yeah.
That's really how quick it can go sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I've had plenty. I've had lots of auditions, and I've booked way less than I've auditioned.
Yeah.
It's probably been like 5 to 10% of the auditions that I've actually booked.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just the way it is. You get 100 no's before you get the one yes.
Yep.
It's real.
It's one of the lines I've brought up where it's like, you're going to get 100 no's, so you got to have thick skin.
Yep.
Even if you think you did the best audition you could. And I'll bring up one where I've had it where I was going through like SF and SAC casting, and while I was going through it, you know, I would go over the hill whenever I had free time. I'm like, all right, I'll come to this audition. I'll do everything. Went out, everybody around. We read the lines. I read the lines. Then she goes, okay, go ahead and improvise a little bit. Like, you got it. Went through. I can't even really remember what I said, but I improvised a line and everybody started laughing. The guy I was reading with just stopped and went back, forgot what he was doing. I was like, hi, I've nailed this. Next day I get an email. You were great. We had to go in a different direction. I was like, if only. But the other thing you hear from, you know, I'll listen to podcasts from directors. It's not the actor per se, because they'll keep you in mind for something in the future, but it's just they went a different direction.
Yeah. You know? Sometimes it's just you killed it, but you're just not what they were looking for.
Yeah.
It's just
as simple as
a
that.
Fact.
Yeah, and that's why with this business you're going to hear so many no's, but you got to have that thick skin.
Yeah, you do.
Which sucks because
and you can't get discouraged.
You know?
You can't lose hope or lose faith. Just keep pushing, keep pursuing that dream.
Yeah, which once it's rolling, you can't stop. When you get bit by the acting bug, it doesn't go away. It's a part of you now.
Yeah.
And then now you kind of said you had that one movie that was about 90% done. Before we really get you out of here, what are you working on next? You're going through school with communications. You've got aspirations to do anything. What is next for you? What do you have? What are you working on? What do you got going?
Yeah, great question. Right now, I am trying to get a new agent.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I just finished putting together a reel that I feel confident in now that I have enough work. New headshots that I feel like really, capture my personality, capture the way that I want to be seen as an actor. Truly, like the first time that I'm very, very confident in the way they look. Mm-hmm. So I want to get a new agent by the end of this year. And I just created my own clothing brand also this year, too.
Is that right?
So I'm trying to grow that, too. It's called New Vintage Streetwear.
Okay.
So those are the things that are really on the forefront of my mind right now. Becoming an actor has been a dream of mine for so long, and over these last few years, I think people are starting to see really do see that, okay, this is what Angel's doing, and this is something that he can become. And kind of like you said, once you've done it, there's not really any going back. I feel like I'm to a point now where it's like, okay, I can't stop now. I've already done this, I have to do it because this is what people are expecting of me. Not that I'm letting anyone's expectations dictate what I'm going to do with my life or my next move, but
it's a part of it.
It's a part of it. Yeah. And it just feels right for me of like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And to me, it does go deeper than just the acting and the performing. Actors, they're blessed to have a following, have an audience, have fans, have a platform, and that's something that I would like for myself, not out of vanity, but because I would like to, inspire others to pursue their dreams. Who knows who will see this podcast? Maybe somebody sees it, something that we said, they say, man, that hits, and then they hold on to it for the rest of their life. Like, I remember one time Steven said this, and it just rings so true to me, man. And I really hope that that's what I can be for others. And along the way, I'm doing something that I really love. And, this life is full of pain and trials, tribulations, all that. But I feel like with this career, we kind of get to, really forget about our real life for a little bit, even if that does sound like depressing. Not trying to make it sound depressing, but as kids, we played pretend. We had wild imaginations, and I feel like being an actor, being a filmmaker, you kind of get to keep that alive and just have fun. And in that, you can also inspire other people. For example, the way that I was just talking about Sylvester Stallone, man, that movie's over 40 years old, and people still view it as like one of the most inspiring American stories of all time type thing. So I hope that I could be that down the road through my acting, through developing myself, through evolving and just trying to become a better man. And that's what I've learned too, is that to be an actor, you really do have to have a strong sense of who you are as well. You have to have your own stories to feed off of. So these last couple of years, Feliz Navidad, I did that 3 years ago. And in that time, I haven't done too much. I've done a few commercials, a short film. But in that time, in my personal life, I've gone through so much, grown so much. I know that it's only preparing me for what's to come.
Yeah.
So that's the way I view it. I just want to, what's next for me is just to continue to stay focused, continue to put myself out there the way that I need to. And I'm coaching football right now. I coach my little brother's football team, his Pop Warner team. So that's what I'm going to be busy with for the next few months, and just focusing on graduating this December, getting an agent, and hopefully moving out to LA sometime next year, so that way I can keep pursuing this.
Yeah, keep going where you can.
Yeah.
And that's great. How we were just saying too, you get hit by the acting bug. When you find something that you love, it's hard to not want to keep it going. With acting, we spent, the first 5, 6, 7 minutes talking about football. That was my first love too in high school.
Yeah.
Like when I found that's something that, even though I'm too small and I didn't get to play it and whatever happened, it's still, anybody brings that up, I'm here to talk about it. It's the same if like I'm at work and somebody says, oh, what are you doing, podcast? No, you got an acting thing, you got something going on. As soon as it gets brought up, like, yeah, I do. And my eyes light up and you get excited to talk about it because it's what you want to do. And even if it's not at the level that you want it to be at currently, much like a entrepreneurial mindset, you always got something going. You're always thinking. It was like, maybe I can audition for this. Maybe this might come up. Ooh, if I start this clothing company where I like clothes and I like to do this, maybe people will see this and they'll like the modeling aspect of it. And then, you can grow into like a Pharrell or somebody like that where they do these big mogul things.
Exactly.
And become a little bit larger than life.
Definitely.
And it's so much fun.
Definitely, man. Definitely. You said it great.
I love doing it. And inspiring people is also another aspect of the show. If somebody can listen and then take something of what we said and be like, yeah, I think I can try that.
Yeah.
I'd love to. And then they start. And then it's not about the competition aspect. It's about the community and growing people and letting them get inspired. And then, oh, what I said touched you in that way? Awesome. Keep going. That's all I care about.
Absolutely.
So, Angel, I want to thank you for coming in. Before we do get you out of here, go ahead and promote your socials one more time.
Yeah.
Anything you want people to find, follow, anything like that.
Well, again, thank you for having me. It was a great conversation. You guys can follow me and my journey at official Angel Alvarado on Instagram. My streetwear brand's Instagram is the official new vintage. And again, I am on TikTok too a little bit. Official Angel Alvarado.
Perfect.
So
those are the places.
The support, yeah. Yeah,
All right,
man.
well, Angel, thank you again for coming in. I appreciate you coming here and telling your story and getting a little in depth and with everything. And for us here, you guys know what to do. Stephen Longley for me, Longley's Line for the show, Lightstyle Studio for our studio here. We'll talk to you guys next week. Appreciate you coming in.